Fox News star Sean Hannity recently made a bold move. He packed up and left his Fox News headquarters in New York without any hesitation. Everyone was left scratching their heads, wondering why. As expected, rumors started swirling. Some people even started comparing his exit to Tucker Carlson's departure, while others cooked up all sorts of conspiracy theories. So, what was the real reason? Well, you're about to find out, and trust us, you might not have guessed it. The shocking reason behind Hannity's move at the start of this year was revealed when he announced on his Fox News radio show that he was heading to Florida. The big migration out of states like New Jersey, California, Illinois, and New York is still happening, and now Hannity was joining the trend. "Tonight I'm broadcasting from my new home, the great free state of Florida," he told his listeners. Hannity already had a home in Palm Beach, which is just north of Miami and Fort Lauderdale, and only a short distance from former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. On January 2nd, during his iHeartRadio show, The Sean Hannity Show, he told his audience that he was now speaking from his new place in Florida. He called it the Free State of Florida, and mentioned that one of the main reasons he made the move was because he felt more at home with the state's conservative political climate. He also expressed his admiration for Florida's political leaders like Governor Ron DeSantis and Senators Rick Scott and Marco Rubio, saying he was much more comfortable in Florida's political environment than in New York, where his show had been based for years. Hannity had bought his Palm Beach townhouse back in April 2021 for $5.3 million, a detail that made headlines at the time. His move was part of a larger trend of prominent conservative figures choosing Florida as their base. But here's where it gets interesting. Why did Hannity choose to move to Palm Beach of all places? It turns out that Palm Beach has some strict rules when it comes to running businesses from private homes, and it stopped Hannity from broadcasting from his house. Margaret Zyman, the president of the Palm Beach Town Council, confirmed to the Palm Beach Daily News that the town doesn't allow businesses to operate out of private residences. The latest property tax records also showed that Hannity hadn't registered his townhouse as his main home. The town takes these rules so seriously that even the legendary Rush Limbaugh had to find a commercial space for his radio show, despite broadcasting from his oceanfront estate. While many had assumed Hannity's Palm Beach home would be his permanent base, no one could quite figure out why he was moving. It seemed like he was just changing his mind, but in the end, he followed through with his decision to relocate to Florida. Hannity didn't exactly spill the beans on where his show would be based in Florida. But what we do know for sure is that he made the big move. Fast forward to less than a year after leaving New York, and Hannity's now living the Florida dream in a lavish mansion. At 62, he's settled into his new waterfront property in Manalapan, which set him back a cool $23.5 million. This swanky spot is tucked in Palm Beach County on a barrier island, offering gorgeous views of both the Atlantic Ocean and the Intracoastal Waterway. According to the Wall Street Journal, the house was originally sold for $18 million back in 2021 and has since undergone some serious upgrades, including updated bathrooms, new flooring, and impact-resistant windows. Spanning nearly 12,000 square feet on almost 2 acres of land, this mansion has 8 bedrooms and 10.5 bathrooms, ideal for hosting gatherings or family visits. True to the vibrant Florida style, Sean Hannity's newly acquired property perfectly embodies the state's love for outdoor living and luxury. The home features a spacious swimming pool that invites year-round enjoyment, an expansive dock complete with a newly installed seawall, and a lovely balcony to soak up the warm Florida sunshine. For those who enjoy panoramic views, the rooftop observation terrace provides an exceptional vantage point to take in the stunning scenery. Inside, the home is full of opulent touches designed for both comfort and entertainment. A cozy fireplace creates the perfect atmosphere for relaxation, while the bar area is ideal for hosting guests. Wine connoisseurs will appreciate the dedicated wine room, which offers ample space to store Hannity's prized collection. To make moving between the multi-level home a breeze, an elevator is included, ensuring that even the busiest of days remain hassle-free. The property was initially listed for an impressive $29 million in February, but after some time on the market, it was relisted in October for a more competitive price of $25.95 million. The home's interior exudes elegance, with large windows that flood the space with natural light, showcasing the stunning water views that are visible from nearly every room, including the living area, dining room, and even the home office. The kitchen is spacious, with plenty of storage and modern features, perfect for both cooking enthusiasts and those who simply appreciate a functional, beautiful space. While the house is well maintained, some prospective buyers, particularly those with a vision for the future, may see it as a tear-down project to build something entirely new and even more extravagant, given the prime location and land value. Earlier this year, Hannity made waves when he sold his Long Island property for a cash offer of $12.7 million, after initially listing it for $13.75 million. This sprawling estate, located on 6 acres in Center Island, was sold quickly in June, signaling strong demand for luxury homes in sought-after areas. It was no surprise that Hannity made the move to Florida, considering the state's appeal for many looking to embrace a different lifestyle. Hannity's decision to relocate to Florida wasn't made on a whim. It had been a long time coming. Back in 2021, he purchased a 3,800-square-foot vacation home in the Sunshine State for $5.3 million, using it as a retreat from his busy life. This property gave him the chance to embrace the freedom lifestyle he had been longing for, but it seems his first Florida home wasn't large enough for his ambitions. In his pursuit of even more grandeur, Hannity sought a larger mansion nearby, one that truly reflected his new vision for life in Florida. As Hannity continues to settle into his new Florida home, there's a growing curiosity about whether his move will create an even bigger splash in the state than his years in New York. Given his prominence as a Fox News star and his influence in the conservative media world, many are wondering if his relocation signals a broader shift in his career and lifestyle. Could this new chapter in Florida mean that Hannity is preparing to step away from Fox News? It's a question on the minds of many as his impressive career continues to unfold. To understand what the future might hold, it's essential to take a closer look at how far Hannity has come in his journalism career. From his rise in radio to becoming a flagship figure at Fox News, Hannity's journey has been one of evolution and expansion. His bold moves, both professionally and personally, including his choice of new homes, may offer clues about the direction he plans to take next. Sean Hannity's journey to fame started way back in 1982 when he kicked things off by starting a house painting business. Not long after, he moved into building contracting in Santa Barbara, California. But the big leap into media came in 1989 when he launched his first talk radio show at KCSB-FM, a college station at UC Santa Barbara. The show ran for a total of 40 hours, but Hannity himself admitted that it wasn't exactly his shining moment. He thought he was pretty terrible at it. Unfortunately, the show didn't last long and was canceled less than a year later after some controversial episodes. In these, Hannity discussed gay and lesbian rights in a way that many found too heated. The university board overseeing the station reversed their decision to air his show, but the Santa Barbara chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, backed him up, claiming his First Amendment rights were being violated. Despite their support, the station refused to apologize or give him more airtime, and Hannity decided to walk away. After leaving KCSB, Hannity took out ads in radio publications, calling himself the most talked-about college radio host in America. His bold claim caught the attention of WVNN in Athens, Alabama, where he was hired to host the afternoon talk show. A few years later, in 1992, he moved to WGST in Atlanta, taking over the time slot previously held by Neil Bortz. In 1996, Roger Ailes, the co-founder of Fox News, recognized the potential in a young, up-and-coming conservative voice and brought Sean Hannity on board to host a new television show. Initially, the show was called Hannity and LTBD, which stood for Liberal to be Determined, reflecting the format of a liberal-conservative debate, with Alan Colmes brought in as co-host. This pairing of Hannity, a conservative firebrand, with Colmes, who represented the liberal perspective, would go on to form the foundation of what would become one of the network's most iconic programs, eventually premiering as Hannity and Colmes. The show proved to be a hit, highlighting Hannity's assertive style and unapologetic conservative stance, while Colmes countered with more moderate liberal views. Later in 1996, after having solidified his role at Fox, Hannity made a pivotal move in his radio career. He left WGST in Atlanta and relocated to New York, where he began filling in for the afternoon host at WABC during the Christmas week. This marked the beginning of what would become a long-running and highly influential radio career. By January 1997, WABC made the decision to give Hannity a full-time slot, placing him in the late-night hours. His show, which already had a growing following, would soon rise in prominence. A little more than a year later, Hannity's hard-hitting conservative voice was moved into a prime drive time slot, and by January 1998, he was officially hosting the afternoon show on WABC, a position he would hold for several years. Hannity's influence in radio continued to grow, and by 2007 he had become a central figure in the conservative media landscape. In the book Common Ground: How to Stop the Partisan War That Is Destroying America, authors Cal Thomas and Bob Beckel discussed the rise of what they called political polarizers, people who were deeply committed to a particular ideology and used their platforms to amplify political divisions. Hannity, as one of these polarizers, was described as a prominent voice contributing to the growing divide in political broadcasting. His show reflected this ideological commitment, becoming a space where conservative viewpoints were not only shared, but championed, distinguishing him from more centrist or liberal media figures. Hannity continued his work at WABC until the end of 2013, and in January 2014, he made another shift in his radio career. He began hosting the 3 to 6 p.m. slot on WNYM in New York City, solidifying his place as one of the leading conservative voices in the media landscape. His radio program, The Sean Hannity Show, was known for its aggressive commentary on current events, politics, and political figures, consistently drawing a large and loyal audience. The show's popularity was further amplified when it went national on September 10, 2001. The show quickly expanded, reaching over 500 stations across the country, an impressive feat that solidified Hannity as a dominant voice in conservative talk radio. His influence continued to grow, with his contract being extended multiple times. In 2004, Hannity signed a significant 5-year contract extension with ABC Radio worth $25 million, securing his presence on the airwaves until 2009. His reach expanded further when, in 2006, the show became available on the Armed Forces Radio Network, allowing it to reach military personnel stationed overseas. The success of The Sean Hannity Show culminated in 2007, when, after ABC Radio was sold to Citadel Communications, Hannity signed a groundbreaking contract extension worth $100 million for another 5 years. This deal ensured the continued national reach of the show, making Hannity one of the most well-compensated and influential voices in conservative media at the time. Through these various milestones, Hannity established himself as a fixture in conservative talk radio, a platform from which he would continue to shape the political discourse for years to come. His success in both television and radio paved the way for his continued prominence in the media, cementing his place as one of the most influential figures in the conservative movement. By March 2018, The Sean Hannity Show was attracting over 13.5 million listeners every week. He was ranked second in Talkers Magazine's 2017 Heavy 100 list and came in at number 72 on Forbes' Celebrity 100 list in 2013. In January 2007, Clear Channel Communications extended their agreement with Hannity for another 3 years, spreading his show to over 80 radio stations, including major ones like KTR in Houston, KFYI in Phoenix, and WFLA in Tampa. Then, in September 2013, Hannity signed a long-term deal with Premier Networks, and in early 2014, he also reached agreements with several Salem communication stations, including WDTK in Detroit and Wind in Chicago. Hannity is also well known for co-hosting Hannity and Colmes on Fox News, where he and Alan Colmes would share their opposing views, Hannity often leaning more conservative while Colmes represented the liberal side. Despite his generally conservative stance on political and social issues, Hannity has openly supported birth control, which sparked heated debates with guests who opposed it, such as Reverend Thomas Uteneuer from Human Life International. Hannity even mentioned that if the Catholic Church ever kicked him out for his views on contraception, he'd consider joining Jerry Falwell's Thomas Road Baptist Church. In January 2007, Hannity launched a new Sunday night show on Fox News called Hannity's America. Then, in November 2008, Alan Colmes decided to leave Hannity and Colmes, and the show aired its final episode on January 9, 2009. Hannity took over the time slot with a new show simply named Hannity, which followed a similar format to the previous program. Sean Hannity has written 4 books throughout his career, with his first 2, Let Freedom Ring, Winning the War of Liberty Over Liberalism, 2002, and Deliver Us from Evil, Defeating Terrorism, Despotism, and Liberalism, 2004, both hitting the nonfiction New York Times bestseller list. His second book stayed on the list for 5 weeks. Hannity has said that he doesn't have much time to write, so he often records his thoughts while driving to his radio show. His third book, Conservative Victory, Defeating Obama's Radical Agenda, was published by HarperCollins in 2010 and also became a bestseller. From 2003 to 2010, Hannity organized Freedom Concerts, a series of country music events aimed at raising funds for charity. However, in 2010, conservative blogger Debbie Schlussel pointed out that only a small portion of the funds from these concerts went to the intended charity, Freedom Alliance. That same year, the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington filed complaints with the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, and the Internal Revenue Service, IRS. The FTC's complaint claimed Hannity misled people by suggesting that all concert profits would go to a scholarship fund for children of military personnel. Meanwhile, the IRS alleged that Freedom Alliance had violated charity rules. The concerts eventually stopped after these issues came to light. Hannity has also made several guest appearances in movies and TV shows, including a voiceover in The Siege, where he played an unseen reporter, and appearances as himself in Atlas Shrugged, Part 2 and House of Cards Season 2. In 2017, he not only served as an executive producer, but also acted in Let There Be Light, alongside Kevin Sorbo. By April 2018, Hannity had built up an impressive real estate portfolio, owning at least 877 homes valued at nearly $89 million. Some of these properties were bought with loans from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and many were in working-class areas. His management style has been described as aggressive, resulting in a higher eviction rate than usual. The Washington Post reported that his property management team has used evictions as a way to generate profit. Though Hannity owns a stake in over 1,000 properties, his managers have stated that he doesn't take an active role in managing them. Hannity's views are as influential as his presence on Fox News, but they've also sparked controversy. He's been called out by the Washington Post for sticking to stories that often turn out to be false, and for changing his views over time. The New York Times has noted that he mixes up opinions and conspiracy theories, and while he doesn't endorse these theories like Alex Jones does, he still discusses them in a way that gets people excited and convinced. This strategy allows him to avoid taking responsibility for some of the more extreme ideas he shares. In 2019, The New Yorker pointed out that Hannity had been promoting unfounded conspiracy theories without facing any real consequences. Back during George W. Bush's presidency, Hannity was a staunch supporter of the president's decisions. However, when Barack Obama took office, Hannity shifted his focus to stories he believed the liberal media was ignoring, such as questions about Obama's birthplace and the Benghazi attack. He made headlines by covering the investigation into the 2012 assault that killed 4 Americans, including U.S. Ambassador Christopher Stevens, much of which was driven by 3 key whistleblowers. By 2017, The Washington Post observed that Hannity's attention had largely shifted to supporting Donald Trump, particularly in the years leading up to Trump's presidential victory. His public backing of Trump seemed to pay off after the 2016 election. Trump's victory showed that Hannity's strong stances weren't without reward. Despite this, there are questions about how his views might impact his position at Fox News, especially if he were to face a scandal or make a controversial move, similar to what happened with Tucker Carlson. Hannity has faced criticism for his unwavering support of Trump, especially during the 2016 presidential primaries. He gave Trump a lot of airtime compared to other candidates and allowed him to spread misleading claims, like suggesting that Rafael Cruz, Ted Cruz's father, was somehow linked to the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Although Hannity has acknowledged his political leanings and admitted he tends to favor Republican candidates, he hasn't openly chosen Trump over Cruz. Their relationship hit a rough patch during a radio interview in April 2016, when Cruz accused Hannity of being a Trump supporter, to which Hannity responded by accusing Cruz of throwing baseless accusations his way. Later that year, in August, the New York Times noted that Hannity wasn't just a prominent media supporter of Trump, but also acted as an informal advisor. Hannity himself later admitted he wanted Trump to win and made it clear that he didn't see himself as a traditional journalist. By December 2017, he openly described his role as an advocacy journalist, or opinion journalist, cementing his stance as someone who clearly favored Trump's agenda. Hannity's career at Fox News has certainly had its ups and downs, and many believe that his time at the network could be coming to an end sooner rather than later. The speculation became stronger after Tucker Carlson's sudden departure from Fox News, with many expecting Hannity to step into the coveted 8 p.m. slot. However, when Fox News announced Jesse Waters as Carlson's replacement, it led many to believe that Hannity may not be as valued by the network as the public thought. When an organization doesn't elevate a figure during times of transition, it's often a sign that they don't see that person as a key part of the future, which could signal that Fox News might eventually let Hannity go if his popularity wanes. Another factor contributing to this speculation is the harassment scandals that have plagued Fox News in recent years. After the defamation lawsuit and workplace harassment accusations against Tucker Carlson, Hannity's history of defending figures like Roger Ailes and Bill O'Reilly in similar situations has raised eyebrows. Hannity's vocal defense of Ailes, despite accusations from several women, and his handling of O'Reilly's firing due to sexual harassment claims, could be reasons for Fox News to reconsider his future with the network. The possibility of facing similar defamation or harassment-related scrutiny may lead Fox News to distance themselves from him, especially if such scandals intensify. As for his move from New York to Florida, that's been seen as part of a larger trend among conservative figures to relocate to the state, which is known for its lower taxes and more favorable political climate. For Hannity, Florida offers more than just a tax break. It seems like a fresh start, especially as his real estate investments and personal preferences align with a Florida lifestyle. This relocation could signal his desire for a quieter life away from the intense scrutiny of New York, and perhaps, as some speculate, a step back from his intense political career as he navigates personal and professional changes. Given all the developments, it does seem possible that Hannity's time on Fox News could end soon, but it will depend on how the network handles future controversies, especially regarding harassment claims and the shifting dynamics within conservative media. His move to Florida could be indicative of a new chapter, but whether that chapter includes a continued role at Fox News or a shift towards something else, only time will tell.